What's up, guys? It's Josh again. I am back for something different today. Today, we are doing a single-player PC game tier list. This is my first time trying this, so please excuse me. But what I went ahead and did was picked out 47 games, all of which I've played, and I'm ready to talk about. That way, there won't be any wasted time, and there won't be any games that I'm not experienced on. So, the first thing I want to talk about before we jump right on in is this. You guys are going to disagree with some of the things that I say today. That is expected. Let's just keep it civil. So if there's any bad vibes in the comment section, they are going to be removed. But otherwise, any disagreements you have, I'd honestly love to talk about it. Just fully write out your argument and your reasoning, and you might honestly change my mind. I'm a very open-minded person. With some of my videos already, like Borderlands, there's been some kind of controversy just about the topic, but people have kept it really civil, which I appreciate, so that's awesome. So, let's waste no time and get started. If you want to even just listen to this video and throw it on in the background, you feel free, because I will talk out everything that we're doing too. So, first game that we have here is Portal 2. This game is iconic. I remember playing this game when it released on the 360. I knew what Portal was at the time, but I never played it, and Portal 2 was amazing, start to finish. I gotta start that one out in S tier, for sure. They don't even make games like this anymore, I feel like. Like, truly difficult, very thought-provoking, really just challenges your mind, but also, man, that game was funny. That game was really funny and had an intriguing story with some twists, so that's awesome. Now, a game that's not so intriguing, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So I'm actually really excited today to talk about some of these Assassin's Creed games. I actually think Valhalla is the worst Assassin's Creed game to date. I'm not going to call it an F, because it's not a terrible game, but I'm going to call it C tier. That is totally my opinion. I know there are some people out there that enjoy it. I'd like to hear maybe why, but I did not enjoy it. I felt like the story felt really slow, and I don't know, I really just wasn't vibing with like the looting system in that game, the overall pacing, and I just think, and I'm going to talk more about this in this video, I think honestly Assassin's Creed has done better in the past than Valhalla. I think it literally took some steps back. And it's not even Assassin's Creed. Next game is Skyrim. Absolutely iconic, really amazing game. Now, one thing I do want to talk about with Skyrim, I want to kind of just go off real quick on a tangent. This is S. We all know Skyrim is definitely one of like the best games of all time. But it's weird, like we're getting some of these releases like Starfield and even like Fallout 76. And I feel like you can kind of notice that like these Bethesda games don't age well. And I feel like it's because it's not based off of, like, realism or realistic gameplay. Bethesda just has its own, like, unique, clunky, goofy gameplay. I personally feel like Skyrim was peak of that at the time, where it worked. And it worked really well, and people didn't really care too much about realistic gameplay. And it was just literally near perfect, especially at the time. Maybe not on the 9.3 release, but it was iconic for a while. So definitely S tier. I think as we're slowly getting into these next-gen consoles, you can see Bethesda kind of aging out. And once again, we'll talk about that with an upcoming game on this list. So the next game on here is Elden Ring. Without a doubt, no doubt at all, S tier. Absolutely S tier. It is a really difficult game, and unfortunately, for me, one downside of games like this is I do feel like they lack accessibility in the sense that, like, I have a lot of friends who are casual gamers, and I'm not going to tell them to play Elden Ring, you know what I mean? And I think there's a lot of people where, like, even for me, Elden Ring was honestly out of my comfort zone. I tell people this all the time. In Elden Ring, I literally over-farmed that part with that area with the really small people. And I was so over-leveled to just get through that game. So I was trash at it. But it was an amazing experience. Definitely S tier. Next one is Fallout 4. So I've actually been playing this right now. And I have to say, I am really enjoying it. I think this falls somewhere in between A or B. Based on right now, I would call it A. I'm really enjoying it. It's a really chill, laid back, basically single player, open world, first person shooter. Not a whole lot of RPG elements, but still, it's really cool. A lot of cool references to Boston, really cool to explore Fenway. So it's a whole vibe, that's for sure. Here comes a controversial one. I'm really excited to talk about this one. Hogwarts Legacy. Here's one you guys are going to disagree with me on. I don't think this game was very good. Now, I respect the studio a lot, and I respect the effort they put towards this, but here's my take on Hogwarts Legacy. I believe that this game is a very casual gamer's dream. But other than that, I feel like it's a pretty shallow, pretty straightforward, pretty simple game. It almost feels like less than an Ubisoft game, in my opinion. I know that's a hot take. I'm also not a Harry Potter fan. I'm a Star Wars fan and a Marvel fan. So that's definitely a factor as well. Feel free to disagree in the comments. Let me hear it. Next one we have is Fallout 3. Regular Fallout 3, super iconic game. I'm going to put it on A tier. I remember playing Fallout 3 kind of in a similar time I played Skyrim, and they complemented each other so well. They really did. Fallout 3 was such an awesome game. Absolutely such an awesome game. And we're going to have one more Fallout to talk about later, which will be important too. So, next game. I know this isn't technically a single-player game, but I'm putting this on here because I've only played this game solo. So, in my eyes, it is a single-player game, and that is Monster Hunter World. Without a doubt, I believe this is an S tier, and I believe it's the best game on this whole tier list so far. I found this game last year and it literally changed my life. Like, it changed the way I looked at gaming. Monster Hunter is a franchise I've looked at for a long time, and I've always wanted to get into it. I am so glad that I did. So seriously, amazing game. Even playing it single player is so worth it. Next one is the Halo Master Chief Collection. This is a bit of an odd one for me because I am such a huge Halo fan. That definitely established that was one of my biggest reasons for getting an Xbox and one of the biggest reasons I fell in love with console gaming. I believe that the Halo series is one of the best series ever. However, for me, in 2020 and 2021, 2022, and so on, the Master Chief Collection just does not hit for me the way it should. I'm going to throw this in B tier, but for me, I don't know why. I don't really enjoy playing through it the way I thought I would. I don't know, maybe I'm just getting older and not enjoying things the way I used to, but I also just feel like you can't just bank off of nostalgia, and I don't know, it just doesn't feel exactly the same going back. But if anyone out there has never played any of the Halo games, go play the Halo Master Chief Collection. Go through all the campaigns. You can do it single player. You can do it split screen. You can do it multiplayer. Shout out to Couch Coop. Great local co-op game. So definitely check out Master Chief Collection. Back to Monster Hunter. Talking about Monster Hunter Rise. This is probably pretty controversial as well, but I'm going to throw this on a B. I think Monster Hunter Rise is a very good game. One of the biggest problems with Monster Hunter Rise, everything that I've ranked so far, even Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Hogwarts Legacy, these games were made for consoles. And Monster Hunter Rise was made for the Switch. And I just feel like that is very evident. And honestly, I blame Nintendo. I always blame Nintendo. It's kind of wrong, but still, I do think that the fact that this game was ported over to the PC, it kind of shows. So that's why I'm throwing it on B. Next one we have is Bioshock Infinite. Some really cool storytelling here. Didn't really necessarily feel like a Bioshock game, but nonetheless, it was a really cool game. I remember the release for this was really interesting. I'm going to throw this in B. I haven't played it lately. I'd be curious to see how it plays in this day and age. Not going to lie, I feel like it probably wouldn't be that special, but if you like Bioshock, we'll talk more about that as we go on, okay? Next one, we have The Witcher 3. No doubt at all, S tier. So earlier in this video, I talked about Skyrim and how it was kind of that perfect balance of like clunkiness, right? And it worked really well for the time. The Witcher was basically Skyrim, but polished, completely polished, to the point where it still is so polished in 2024. So if you've never played The Witcher, you literally have to go play The Witcher. It's amazing. And I'm definitely a fan of this franchise and the studio. So certainly an S tier for sure. Back to Bioshock. Talking about Bioshock 2. This is one of my favorite first-person adventure games ever. Bioshock 2 was such a vibe. It was such like a light horror vibe, and it was so cool. Exploring Rapture, the underwater city, was insane. Highly recommend that one. We need a remake of Bioshock. I also feel like we need like a rejuvenation of the series. That it's just such an awesome one. All right, you guys ready for some more controversial takes? We have God of War. I believe this was 2019. This goes in B. I did not love the God of War games. Now, hear me out. Growing up as a gamer, I had access to a PlayStation 3. And as I was on that PlayStation 3, I remember begging my parents, begging to get the game God of War 3. God of War 3 was one of, I say this a lot, but truly, I will never forget it. One of the most memorable games I ever experienced by far. The combat was insane. The storytelling was unreal. The progression felt so rewarding. And I truly remember at the time thinking it was close to a perfect game. And I still probably could play it now and think that same thing. When I saw that they were redoing a God of War series and completely changing the combat, I was really disappointed. I was a little bit skeptical. But after hearing all the praise, I decided to still try it. Once I tried it, I was really disappointed with the gameplay. I thought it felt really just cinematic and not like a God of War game where it's destructive. That's just my opinion. I didn't absolutely love it. It's not a bad game by any stretch, but the old ones are truly one of the best gaming series ever. Next game we have is Red Dead Redemption 2. Another hot take. I know this is a lot of people's favorite series of all time. I think this game's really good. I'm going to put it in A. But truthfully, I never got super sucked into it. Something for me about these Rockstar games, like even GTA's like this too, their controls are so clunky compared to some other games. Play a game like Elden Ring, play a game like Monster Hunter, and then you come back to Red Dead and it's just like, what are we doing here? I know the world is absolutely beautiful. I wish I had a PC during the pandemic because I feel like Red Dead 2 was one of the best pandemic games ever. That's a game you could just get so sucked into and so submerged into. So this next game is one I just started playing recently, Yakuza 0. I'm really enjoying this so far. I got to get back to it. I'm going to throw this on A tier. I've heard that the Like a Dragon part of the Yakuza games are even better, but I'm trying to work my way up. Now, Yakuza is an older game, but the fact that I was able to play the remaster in 2024 and really enjoy it was awesome. Especially if you like kind of Japanese-based games, I highly recommend giving it a shot. Okay, next one I'm really excited to talk about, Jedi Fallen Order. I'm putting this in C tier. So I said earlier in this video when I talked about Hogwarts, I'm a huge Star Wars fan, and I really wanted to love this game. I believe that this feels very similar to how God of War feels, except I feel like Jedi Fallen Order feels clunky. The movement feels clunky, the jumping feels clunky. The combat's pretty good, but it's not super satisfying. Like, especially, I went from playing Elden Ring to Fallen Order, and it was, like, impossible. It's just, I didn't vibe with it the way I thought I would. I really wanted to love it, like I said, but let me hear what you guys think. I'd be super curious. Next one is Borderlands 3. I just made a video on this. Go check that out. It's called The Great Controversy of Borderlands 3. Man, this is hard to rank. My gosh, my video talked about that. I'm going to throw it in an A tier. I love this game still. I don't care. I love it. Go check out my video. I'm not going to spend too much time on this. It's called The Great Controversy of Borderlands 3. But this is all I'll say. This game did a lot of things really well, and it did a few things wrong. And oddly, the few things that did wrong kind of stood out more than all the things that it did well. But still, a really great game. Speaking of great games, we got Dishonored. Oh, Dishonored. I'm going to actually throw this in S tier. And this is why. Because this is one of the most unique games on this entire list so far. And at the time, it was so different from everything that we got. And I remember just being so sucked into it when that game came out. You know what? I don't even regret putting it on S tier. This game is an S tier. I should honestly go back and play Dishonored. It is an absolute gem. A lot of gameplay options, but really cool gameplay too. Really, really cool gameplay. So I just started playing Dragon's Dogma, so I can't talk too much about it, but I'm super interested in it so far, and I will say I really enjoyed even the first 2 hours of gameplay. Based on everything I've seen about it, it looks like an S tier game, but since I haven't played it, I'm just going to throw an A tier. But this game seems really awesome. Dragon's Dogma 2, I think you guys got to keep your eye out for that. That seems like it could be historic. Like, I think that might be like the next Baldur's Gate 3, how everyone's talking about that game. That's just my opinion, but keep an eye out for that one. Next one, Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Oh man, I'm excited to talk about this one. This is such a weird game. I'm so conflicted between B or C for this one. That's like somewhere in between. The biggest thing for me is like, who are they targeting with this game? Were they targeting Borderlands fans or were they targeting D&D fans? And personally, I feel like they probably didn't really please either one fully. And I wish they honestly either just made a D&D game that wasn't affiliated, or we just got like a Borderlands 4. It's awesome because we got more of that amazing gameplay and gunplay from Borderlands 3, but I'm putting this in C tier. I feel like with Wonderlands, I didn't enjoy the skill tree progression at all, and I also felt like the weapons did not feel nearly as unique. At like Borderlands 3, you got to use some really, really special, cool-looking weapons, and I felt like that was not the case in Wonderlands. Now, an amazing game is Borderlands 2. No doubt about it, it's an S tier. I believe that it was revolutionary in gaming. Literally one of the best games of all time. I also have some personal attachment to it. As I was dealing with some mental health things throughout my life, Borderlands 2 really helped me get through that. So I'm always appreciative of that game. But I actually made a video about it too. I played Borderlands 2 in 2024, and I was really impressed with how well it held up. And I've worked my way through the whole story. So seriously, S tier. If you've never played Borderlands 2 and you like first-person shooters, you gotta play it. And it's a really casual game too. It's really a fun one. I highly, highly recommend it. Next one, Assassin's Creed Origins. This one I'm happy to put right in B tier. I actually think this game is better than Valhalla. Origins was really... I wasn't a huge hater of them making the switch to open world. I remember actually playing Origins on the Xbox One roughly when it came out and being really, really impressed. It was... I thought it just a really good depiction of a different environment. They did a lot of good things right. It wasn't perfect by any stretch, but I definitely enjoyed it, and I feel like that was definitely before it started getting a little bit repetitive. But it's not perfect. However, that is a game that ages really well. Like, you could play that in 2024, and it still ages pretty well. So next game, this isn't, again, necessarily single player, but I played this single player, so I just want to share this with you guys. Path of Exile. This is a tough one for me because... like, quality-wise, I think this is like an S or A. Like, it's a very well-made game. But this is a very not casual gamer-friendly game. There's a lot of, like, studying you gotta do. There's a lot of, like, squinting you have to do. There's so much in-game text all the time. I'm gonna throw it on B tier. I really enjoyed the gameplay, and I really enjoyed, honestly, the vibe of it all. Like, I thought that was one of just the coolest established games that I've found. Has a really established community. Really did enjoy the gameplay. But when it comes to the mechanics, it really does just become overwhelming. And like I say this all the time, I play video games to chill out, and that's not a game I feel like I'm chilling out. So to each their own. I'm going to throw it in B tier, Path of Exile. Next one, we got the Spider-Man Remastered. Probably a pretty hot take here. I'm going to throw this in B. Very similar to Hogwarts Legacy, except I am a massive Spider-Man fan. Like, massive. I love the comics. I love all the movies. I love learning all about the backstories. This game was just fine, honestly. I'm sorry, but it was nothing special. It was like a very mild open world, pretty repetitive combat, pretty straightforward quest. Go here, fight bad guys, rinse and repeat. It was cool to be Spider-Man. It was cool to swing around. But I think I logged like 20 hours into that game and never touched it since. So, good experience for sure. Very casual gamer friendly, but nothing special. Next one, probably again controversial, Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I think it's A tier. So, this game is... I wouldn't say it's true to Assassin's Creed, right? It's not like Assassin's Creed 1 or 2 or anything like that. But this game is really interesting. One of the largest open worlds. There's truly so many unique things to do. There's like a lot of quests in this game, and they're actually like good quests with interesting stories. This game isn't fluff. Like, there's actually a lot of good content. There's also some good historical ties. The gameplay is honestly really fun. I also thought the looting in Odyssey and Origins was much better than Valhalla. Like, I certainly enjoyed it. And there's just a lot that they did here. It was an ambitious game. It ages really well, and it's beautiful to look at. So I'm calling that A tier. I had a blast with that one. Next one. I just wanted to throw this in here. I just had to. Destiny 1. Destiny 1 was iconic. I played this on the Xbox One. I miss Destiny 1. Can we get a Destiny remaster? Let's shut down Destiny 2 and just give us exactly what Destiny used to be. I miss it so much. Destiny 1 was amazing. I'm curious how it ages in 2024. Oh my gosh, but I remember the release of that was one of the most exciting releases ever. So highly recommend that. Next game we have is Palworld. Palworld was a game that was all over social media and everywhere real quick, and then I feel like kind of fizzled out. It's a B. It's a good game. It's interesting. It has a lot of potential, but it's nothing crazy. I feel like it's very similar to like an Ark Survival Evolved. It's fun. It's very fun. But I knew really quick like it wasn't going to be a game I was going to play forever. It almost reminds me of like Lego Fortnite. If you guys remember when that came out on Fortnite, it was like trendy for a little bit, and that's that. And bold prediction, I said this earlier, Dragon's Dogma 2 is going to come out, and that's going to be the big game for a while. That is my prediction. If I'm right, you guys got to give me credit. Next one we got is Fallout New Vegas. Best Fallout game of all time. Throwing that in S tier. Peak Fallout here. They just nailed the gameplay, and they really understood like the storytelling and the choices in that game. New Vegas was just such a vibe. Such an awesome step up. Like, they didn't change Fallout 3. They just made solid additions. So really well done. Next one. Batman Arkham City. Without a doubt, S tier. That game walked and ran so then Spider-Man could swing his webs and do it pretty mediocrely. But Batman Arkham City, I truly believe ages super well, is one of the best superhero video games of all time. The Easter eggs in it is insane. Just exploring Gotham City is so special. That was a game that did feel open world, and it felt like you were truly exploring your favorite superheroes universe. It was awesome. Next one we have is Minecraft. So I'm throwing this on here because it's a single player game. I actually usually play the single player, and I'm going to throw this in A tier. Never gets old to just throw on some. I was actually going to say throw on some headphones, but no. What you guys got to do in Minecraft is turn up that OG Minecraft music and just vibe out and enjoy. It is so special, and it never gets old. Next one we have is Rayman Legends. A really, really underrated platformer. It gets really challenging, but honestly, a really fun game. I'm going to throw it in B because I don't love platformers, but if you love platformers, you have to play it. No doubt. Literally, no doubt at all. If you guys hear some shaking going on, that's my dog Theo. He's here with me. Okay. Oh, next one, we got Starfield. This is the epitome of what I was talking about earlier, about that clunkiness in Skyrim, where when Skyrim first came out, that clunkiness was like kind of cute. It worked. Yeah, by the time Starfield came out, this wasn't cute. I'm throwing this in F tier. I thought like this game was literally a disgrace. So there should be a game on here. No, so I'm actually going to add a game to this list. I remember at the time when I first started playing Starfield, I was actually playing Cyberpunk 2077. And literally try to play Cyberpunk and then go play Starfield. It's insane. It feels like you're playing a DS game with Starfield, and it feels like you're playing a next-gen game with Cyberpunk. This game just was nothing special at all. Some of the mechanics were confusing, but it also just kind of lacked impressiveness overall. It just was not what it promised to be. There was a lot of hype behind it, and it was nowhere close. This game was supposed to headline Game Pass and failed. So I'm going to call it F tier. Okay, so the next game we're going to talk about, a little out of order, but I just added it, is Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk 2077. Yes, it had a really bad release, but this showed how to respond to failure. Their release was absolutely dismal and would probably be F, and now I am contemplating putting it on S or A. I'm throwing it on S tier just because this is truly what next-gen gaming is capable of. And Starfield is a joke. And use games like this as a model. They literally are setting the industry standard, and I respect that. They also just did a bunch of free updates and showed people like that they were sorry just with their actions. Amazing game, amazing open world. I've never done so many side quests in a game as I've done in Cyberpunk. Like literally, my problem is I have so many hours in this game and I haven't even progressed the story because I just explore and I do the gigs. It's so much fun. The combat's amazing. It's just such a vibe. Next game we got is Stardew Valley. Super iconic. The best farming simulator, not even close. I'm not super into farming sims, but Stardew is one of the best. Super relaxing. What's cool is there's so much you can do, but then if there's some aspects of the game they don't like, you don't have to do it. So I loved looting and I loved fishing, and that was all I really did in that game. I didn't really care to socialize with the NPCs, but I know people where that was all they did. So it's really cool. The game kind of allows you to just explore whatever you want. Such a good one. Highly recommend it, especially if you're a casual gamer and a cozy gamer. Next one, South Park, The Stick of Truth. Awesome game here. I didn't play this too much, but I am so impressed with this. I'm putting this on the A tier because I love this concept of taking a funny TV show, taking the video game very seriously, and then doing it right. And this game, I've actually watched YouTube playthroughs of it too. It's so funny. It's so funny, but it's actually like a very serious game with real mechanics. It's a real turn-based RPG. So it's just awesome. I really liked it, especially if you're a fan of South Park. I used to be into it when I was younger. I'm not really into it now. But I feel like if this came out when I was younger, I would be so obsessed with it. I highly recommend it. Next one we have is Hades. Hades is a really cool one, a really unique roguelike. I'm going to put this in A. I know a lot of people would put it in S. The problem with it for me is it's just not a game I find myself coming back to very much, but it is awesome. It's a really cool, versatile game that has a lot of weapons, a lot of progression, awesome storytelling too, a lot of good Greek mythology stuff. So definitely a good one. If you haven't checked out Hades, that's a really fun one. Next one we got is Far Cry. Far Cry 6, I believe, is the one I have on here. I'm going to throw this on B tier. This is actually not even the only Far Cry game I played. I haven't played this one even too much, but I've played a bunch of them since 3. I played Primal, I played 4, I played 5. They're all the same. They're all open world games, first person, and then there's a lot to do, and you're just taking over things slowly and exploring the map. It's fun. It's mindless, but it's fun. It's not a bad game by any stretch, but it's not special, that's for sure. Next game is Terraria. Super interesting one. I played this when it released, and it's so far away from what it used to be. So as someone who's like not very good at games, I actually missed the OG release. I'm going to throw it on C tier now because it's a bit complicated for me, and I don't enjoy it the way I used to. But when I first played this game, it was pretty simple, and it was an awesome vibe. If you are like an intense gamer and you like survival games, try Terraria. It's going to be a different kind of challenge for sure. Next one we have is Batman Arkham Asylum. No, I apologize. This is Batman Arkham Knight. My bad, not Arkham Asylum. Arkham Knight, a really interesting one. I'm putting this in A tier. Just as good as Arkham City, except the Batmobile was not good. And there was a lot of Batmobile in the game. So that's the only reason I'm putting it on A. Other than that, that's the most modern Batman game, and it's literally the best gameplay-wise, other than the Batmobile. It's insane. It's awesome. Go check it out if you haven't. Next one we got is Monster Hunter Stories 2. I'm really enjoying this one. I'm throwing this on A tier. I've been playing this. Really special, really unique. What an awesome idea to take Monster Hunter and convert it to like a Pokemon-like series. But it's not a straight ripoff of it either. It definitely feels unique and special. And it's so fun how I played Monster Hunter World and then switched over to this game. And like recognizing monsters from World and Monster Hunter Rise. And then you like capture them is just so cool. So definitely check this out, especially if you like Monster Hunter and turn-based games. Definitely check it out. I think I'm going to have a video coming out about this one soon. Next one we have is Gotham Knights. Man, this game, I'm going to call this an F. It's not even terrible. It's honestly like the gameplay is like passable, but there's not much else to it at all. I don't know anyone that still plays this game. Let me know if you're out there if you do. A lot of potential too. That's what's a shame. A shame for that new Suicide Squad game. It's a shame when you take all this potential and you just do it wrong. That kind of was my point about South Park, is they took all that potential and they did it right. So I respect it. Now, we're only talking about one Call of Duty game here, but it's for a reason. So this is Call of Duty Black Ops 2, The Zombie Chronicles. I'm throwing this in A tier, only because I love those Call of Duty retro zombie maps. And this is them remastered. Kino der Toten from Black Ops 1, I have so many hours put into that, and it's so nostalgic anytime I ever see it. So I absolutely love it. Highly recommend playing that if you've never played zombies. Super worth it. Next game we have on here is Diablo 4. Definitely a controversial one. Some of the first videos I made on my channel were about Diablo 4 because I was playing it for a while. It's good. I think Diablo has a lot of really loyal fans. And I think that this franchise did not really care about their fans. And that Diablo 4 was honestly a casual gamer's dream. There's not much to it. It's a really simple game where you just beat up a bunch of things and level up and unlock new skills. But that's about it. First playthrough I had with this game was fun, and then it got boring real quick. I'm stuck between B and C for this one. I feel like it's about on the same level as Tiny Tina Wonderland, so that's where I'm going to throw it. Yeah, you guys can hate on me for this list. It's okay. Next one we got here is Destiny 2. Again, I know it's not single player, but I've only played this game single player, never played it with other people. And I'm going to rate the single player Destiny experience in 2024 an F. Just because what is it? It's a shame. Like, honestly, if you're a longtime player, it's pretty fun. But as a new player, it's so not new player friendly, and it's just bizarre. It really is. Next game is Slay the Spire. Really, really cool one. You could play this one forever. It's a really cool card-based, turn-based game. Highly recommend checking this one out. It's a super interesting one, for sure. The next one we got is Cuphead. And I have to tell you guys right now, I'm not good enough to play Cuphead. I'm straight up not good enough. But if you guys like challenges, especially if you like these 2D shooters like this, you have to play Cuphead. I'm going to put it in B, but it really comes down to your personal preference. If you like this genre of gaming, you got to try it. If not, and if you don't like challenging games, please stay far away. It looks cute, but it's not. And the last game we're going to talk about today is Vampire Survivors. This is on Game Pass. This is one of the most mindless, addicting, fun games out there. I'm throwing it on A tier. It's such a simple, almost like mobile game, very basic concept. But seriously, if you guys are just looking to like please that part of your brain that's just like exploding things and making progress and not thinking, play Vampire Survivors. It's a really fun one. And guys, there you go. That concludes my single player PC gaming tier list. Please let me know what you guys think. Also, let me know what you guys think of this style of video. I love videos like this because I will literally throw this on as I game and just listen. That's why I tried talking it all out to you guys so you didn't even have to look at the screen if you don't want to. But just let me know. And then please peacefully let me know if you disagree with anything I say or agree. And we can talk about it. I will comment back, okay? Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace!